Hello and welcome to Old Brother, a podcast about Salford/Manchester's legendary music institution, The Fall. Each week we invite on a guest to discuss their memories and relationship with the group and anything else we care to talk about. For this episode, we welcomed along seminal Liverpool musician and writer Paul Simpson of the Wild Swans and Care and founder member of the Teardrop Explodes. Hope you enjoy it.
Hello, welcome to the latest edition of Old Brother with me, Paul Hanley.
And me, Steve Hanley.
And we are delighted to welcome our guest today all the way from, well, I don't know where you are actually. I mean, I know you're originally from Liverpool, but...
Yeah, I'm living in Dublin as of the last 2 years, yeah. It's a complicated story. I moved to Glasgow a couple of years. I just got myself all embedded into that. No, can we swear on this or not?
You can say what you like, mate.
All right, I sort of embedded myself in with all the old fucking post-punk fuckers in Glasgow and kind of. And then my partner Gemma, she is in theatre and she's took a job in Dublin. And I don't know why I didn't realise it was going to be. So she's on a 5-year contract, really. So yeah, I'm living in Dublin, but I can't find my tribe. Weirdly, I could in Glasgow. I can't find my tribe here.
What part of Dublin are you in?
I'm right.
Do it in.
I'll do it in the intro. Don't worry. Well, let's just assume I've already introduced you.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle. But apart from Gavin Friday and but Bono, I can't find my tribe yet.
Have you spoken to Gavin?
No, but weirdly enough, I'd only been here a week and I bumped into Bono in the streets. I just, oh my God, what are the chances I'm at? Is that like he wouldn't know me from Adam, but I couldn't. We've got so many friends, mutual friends in common.
Very good, yeah.
So many mutual friends in common. I had to say hello, and he knew who I was, And once I told him, he'd heard of me, and he was dead nice. I said, I haven't seen you since you played in Eric's in 1978. He said, you haven't changed a bit.
he does have a problem with his eyes, doesn't he? I think.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much where I was going to start, funnily enough, with Eric's, because everything starts with Eric's, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. You start wherever you want.
Right. Yeah. So, you grew up sort of slightly outside Liverpool, didn't you? I think?
Well, no. I know. I was born in Liverpool, but we moved. Only for credibility purposes, I insist on that one because we moved out to the green belt when I was 3, right. And then I moved back into the town centre when I was 18. So I was about 15 years living in Woolly Backland, but
right, okay.
not as bad as Will Sargent.
So it seems to be one of those kind of things that Eric's seen of 70, well, we say 77.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. It seems to be like, I mean, I know you only hear from the people who were there, but it seems like everybody who was there went on to do something really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of what's unique about Eric's, really. I chanced upon it in November 77. I'd missed the Pistols by like 4 weeks. And May was... I can remember a guy called Roy White and Steve Torch. They had a record deal on RCA or something in the 80s. Well, Roy was in the local tech doing the hairdressing course, and I was doing this art course below. And he stopped me in the street one day because he asked me where I got my Bowie trousers from, and he said, "I'll play in a band called Berlin, and we're playing on Thursday night in the Eric's wasn't called Eric's at first, it was called the Revolution Club in '76.
Right. Yeah,
we're playing the Revolution Club, so I went down and I've got me lovely Brian Ferry shoes on and me Bowie kicks. And
were they from the back of the NME by any chance? Were they? Or?
No, they weren't. No. But so I go down and I watch his band, and it's just basically all covers, really. It's like the name Berlin. It's all Lou Velvet's Bowie covers and stuff, and they were great. They were good. I went for a pee, and I'm in the urinal at Eric's, which was bloody horrible. Yeah, and some guy standing next to me, far too close, and he's just radiating bad vibes. He hates me. I don't know why. He absolutely hates me. And And as he turns around to walk away, he's all in the zips and all the punk gear and stuff. And I hadn't really seen. I was following punk in the Melody Maker and stuff, the very earliest Pistols kind of images and stuff. But I've never seen a proper kind of bona fide punk, And anyway, it was what's the name singer in Slaughtering the Dogs.
Oh,
right.
Wayne Barrett.
Yeah, because they were headlining.
Right.
But I didn't know that. And anyway, the funniest thing, he was very aggressive sort of thing towards me, but it had a mad effect on me. I went straight home that night. I realised I was passé. I thought I was coolest thing going, And I went straight home and my mum and dad were asleep. Of course, I'm trying not to make a noise. I wanted to cut my hair, and the only scissors I could find were my dad's wallpaper scissors, about. Yeah, long.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was in the Merchant Navy, and he had a chest full of all his shirts and stuff. And I grabbed one of his old shirts, and I set fire to the collar, and I slashed it up with a razor blade and stuff. Anyway, when he came down at breakfast, I was already up, and he said, have you been in a plane crash? Because it was such a radical, but that's what, you guys know, that's what punk was like. It was just like, it was so exciting this thing had just landed on us, And, and anyway, I went, luckily, so Roger Eagle, whose club it was, he employed this girl called Doreen Allen on the door, and she was older than me, and she because I'm thin now, I was painfully thin, and I was counting out my coppers, and she just motioned me into the gig, and then every night she just motioned me in, and it's like you couldn't. There's three gigs on a night at Eric's.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not in 76, in 77 there was. And so I could only afford to go to one. But if she let me in free, I'd come the next night and the next night. And that's what happened for years. God bless her. I don't think I ever paid. Maybe on the Clash in May 77, but I had to pay. But
everybody was at that, weren't they?
Yeah, oh my God, what a night that was. But I've got a funny story about that one. Sorry, is this okay for me to just...
Yeah, exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, So I went with Les Pattinson, Echo and the Bunnymen. Later went on to. I went with Les to see the Clash, and it was devastating. But whatever you had thought of the Clash, the gig was so electric. The atmosphere was so amazing.
I think it was great to see them.
I got back home, and I was horrified. I got back home about, I don't know, 2 a.m. or something. And I got back home and my mum and dad, the lights were still on the house. I got in and my mum and dad are sitting there drinking whiskey, and I'm like, oh God, no. And I said, where have you been? They went, we went to, your dad had a works function at the Atlantic Towers Hotel in Liverpool. And he said, we met some friends of yours. And I said, you met some friends of mine at the Atlantic Towers Hotel? What are you on about? And they went, yes, the Clashes. And I said, the Clashes? you don't mean the Clash. So after the Clash had played, they went back to their hotel, the Atlantic Towers, round the corner. And my mum and dad had seen him and gone, oh, he looks like our Paul. They've got spiky hair. And we're talking to him. And I was, when you're half mortified.
Yeah.
But you want to hear more.
Of course.
And I'm like, no, oh God, what did you say? Oh my God. And
you know them because we've got similar haircuts to you.
Yeah.
Friends of yours.
Yeah. Oh, hilarious. But I was sort of mortified, but couldn't stop asking them about it.
So they got on all right, did they, with the Clash?
Yeah. All right. God. Well, my dad was a Cockney, you see. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Same area.
Yeah.
So sooner or later on this podcast, we have to ask about what was your first experience of the Fall then? Where did
I've got how many do you want? So I was trying to do some research last night because I think I saw every gig they did at Eric's, and I found about...
It was a lot of them as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, I found about 6 or 7. But also, so Mark said, Oh, no, there's another story coming. So we just love them immediately. And I've got to say, like, Witch Trials is my favorite album of all time. And, you know,
Non-take.
we just, me, Wiley, Cope, Ian McCulloch, Will, and Les Pattinson.
How did you get to know all these people then?
I was at school with them.
Right.
I was at school with the Bunnymen. Is that what you mean? Yeah. I was at infant school with Les Pattinson. Our mums introduced us on when we were 4, because my birthday's in June. I was only 4 when I went to school, not 5. And because we were clinging to our mum's legs, they made us hold hands, me and Les, when we went to school together. And then Will Sargent, I met in secondary school when we were in the second year of secondary school. Do you remember when, you're old enough to remember when you'd carry albums under your arm, pre-punk,
Yeah.
So because I was a Bowie Roxyite, I just bought, the day it came out, I bought, was it 73? I bought No Pussyfoot in Frippinino.
Okay.
So I had that under my arm, and I saw this other kid in the playground with an album under his arm, and with a cow on the cover, and I went over and said, all right, you know, what's that? And he said, Atom Heart Mother, and I said, who are they? He said, "Oh no, that's they're called Pink Floyd, you know." And I said, "Who's he?" You know, and he said, "What's that?" And I don't know whether you remember. If you see No Pussyfoot, Eno's got pornographic playing cards in his hand.
Right.
So you know, he went 13, 14. Like, it was very exciting. You know, so we swapped albums. This is my memory of it. Anyway, we swapped albums for the night.
Yeah.
And then buddied up, and we've been friends ever since. You know. Yeah. So and like Eric's in late 76, early 77. There wasn't that many people.
Yeah.
It took a while to catch fire. So that was the core. You know, Jane Casey, Brody, Bill Drummond. You know, it's everyone I know. You know. So yeah, but I can't remember why. But maybe Julian or Wiley or someone said, "God, come and check these out," you know. And it's something about the I don't know. I mean, I like Subway Sect as well. I like the people who didn't really wear the punk clothes, you know. Anyway, so after the gig, we were all kind of trying to talk to everyone in the fall, you know, and because they were relatively new, certainly Liverpool, they talked back to us and were interested in us. And you know, they were back in a few weeks and they were pleased to see us and stuff. And then me and Mac hitched to, was it Leeds Poly or somewhere, to see them, and we arrived early. And we only had enough, we didn't have enough money for a drink, we just had enough for a cup of tea. So because we were so early, we went to some little Greasy Spoon cafe and were sitting there. And then the band, the Fall, all walked in. All right, Cock, what are you doing here? You know, we've come to see you. And Mark's in K Carroll, and they said, well, you've come specially to see us. And I said, yeah, that you're the first people that have ever done that. So I reckon me and Ian McCulloch, the first people to ever, fans that ever travelled.
Wow. To
see the Fall. And anyway, so after the gig, which was phenomenal, it was better than I'd ever seen anywhere else. I think because it was just full of shrogs and long hairs.
Yeah.
They really were just having a kind of the full, having a laugh. Not a laugh, they were just like Mark, you know, the early days. He just had his transistor radio, but he just left it on for 10 minutes while the rest of them were jamming and stuff. It was really extreme. It was like Faust or something, you know.
Yeah.
And we loved it. Anyway, so me and Matt we were hitching at the side of the road. It was raining. We couldn't get a lift for the life of us. And then this van pulls up and it's the band. So it's all get in the back. We can't take you back to Liverpool, but you can come and stay at our house. So me and Matt stayed on Mark and Kay's floor that night.
Yeah.
And then we were sort of mates then, you know.
Yes.
I'm sure I'd have hated everything I did ever afterwards. But as a funny story, so God, I sound like a 1930s comedian, don't I?
It is a funny thing.
It is a funny thing. And Matt will hate me for telling this one. So we're in the back of the van, and like Carl's cymbals are in my head, and it's like nothing secured, and I can't remember what it was. I probably choose not to remember what it was, but Max said something pretty dodgy, not racist, but something pretty dodgy, and Mark was on him like a ton of masonry, Yeah, and we'd been invited to stay the night at their house, so I was like, Ian, shut up, just let it go, because you know what Ian's like. He couldn't. So the two of them started having this quite a heated row, and it was horrible. And anyway, they stayed friends. So I got the. But that's the lyric in various times. I don't like them, says Ian with his blackout threats.
Right.
That's what that was about. That line.
Oh, okay.
Which is why Ian doesn't really celebrate that. Yeah. Really, and then there's another one on. Is it Futures and Paths about Julian?
Julian said I was the gear.
Julian says I like the gear. You can't. They don't sell that to you over here in Liverpool, which is just nonsense. Of course they did. It's all coming through Liverpool docks, Anyway, yeah. But yeah, we just adored them, and we travelled to the Band on the Wall, to the famous one with John the Postman, that did Louis Lou for half an hour.
You'd have to narrow that down a bit. He did Louis Lou for half an hour.
Yeah, of course he did, yeah. But then the Teardrop, when the Teardrops got going, they all turned up to see us. And we couldn't believe it. We're like, oh my God, what are you doing? Well, we've come to see you,
Was that the Band on the Wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
Oh, were you?
Wow.
So was that your first gig in Manchester?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I was going to get to that. How did you go from big fans to actually, I mean, it's a tale as old as time, but then you decided you could do it as well then, all of you?
Well, you've heard Sleeping Gas. All my keyboard parts are just basically... Unibanes,
Yeah.
But that was it. I just, oh God, I can do that.
I mean, again, it is a cliche that everybody looked at punk bands and thought I could do that, but there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I had no designs on being a musician at all. I wanted to be an artist, and but it's like Julian was so enthusiastic. He was so enthusiastic about everything. I was like his negative. I was one of them kind of punks who kind of always moaning about what was wrong with the scene. And my pet peeve was like prog bands who like what they call Tiger Lily, who became Ultravox, and that's and so that's the first thing I'd talk about in the conversation with a new person. Whereas Julian would be like, God, have you heard the new whatever Perubu single? It's incredible. And but somehow we sort of buddied up.
You need a bit of help for them, though, don't you? I think.
Yeah. we buddied up, and then I don't know. Someone suggested we form a band, and I, well, what am I going to do? I did have a guitar, but I want to. I'm sort of jack of all trades and master of none. I do a bit of paint, I do a bit of writing, I do a bit, and Julian said, well, play keyboards, So I borrowed 40 quid off my mum, which was like 400 quid.
Yeah. A lot of money.
I bought a second-hand kind of Farfisa knockoff, and it had an off and on and a vibrato, but that was it. So fast forward to 2000, Julian Cope invites me to support him at the Royal Festival Hall. He's curating a sort of his own meltdown called Cornucopia. Yeah, I was doing some instrumental sort of project at the time, like this krautrocky thing called Skyray. So I was one of the bands on the bill. So it was a weekend. I played on the Friday night. On the Saturday, I get a call from the festival organizer. Oh, Julian would like you to join him on stage tonight for the last song of the night, doing Sleeping Gas. Well, I hadn't played it in 25 years, and so I'll speed you through this. So there's not really a sound check. We've got 10 minutes. I get to the festival hall, give Julian a big hug, and I say, where's the keyboard, right? And he does this horrible kind of evil smile, and he just points behind him. So it's like the second biggest pipe organ in Europe. It's got 7 7,000 stops. You know, the pipes. I'm not even joking. 7,000 pipes. You know, so I had to play. You know, yeah. Oh my God.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it true that you read the Daredevil comic that had?
So I moved into this bed sit in Rodney Street in 1978. It was £7.50 a week, and he and he put it up. I got a letter saying we're putting it up by 50p to £8 a week. Right in the people didn't want to live in the centre of town in those days. It's so weird. I was the only
It's weird how that changed, isn't it? Manchester,
Yeah.
You didn't want to walk around the centre of the town. Never mind, live there.
I remember. I used to be a member of PIP, so I'd go to PIP.
Okay.
He was a member of PIP.
I was.
Yeah. So so what am I talking about? Oh, that's right. So I'd moved into this bed sit, and there was all this curious stuff left behind. There was tons of pornography in a wardrobe. I'd opened drawers that was full of dental gear and bottles of ether.
That's why you put the rent up.
Oh, dear. And anyway, but also loads of kind of Marvel comics from the kind of 60s. I wish I had them now. Oh my God, they're worth a fortune. So all the I don't even know whether. Yeah, we didn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
So we're the whole lot of us are all sitting in there drinking tea, and we've been on it for hours going, liquid holes, or sort of mad band names, you know. And then I'm so bored, I just pick up this comic, and I found it had been left there by, this is mad, left there by the Liverpool Chinese actor Ozzy Yu, who is the guy when Father Ted's looking out the window. Oh, I see you're a racist now, Father.
Oh, right.
Is the guy on the other side of the window. Now, he was the bass player in a Liverpool kind of boogie band called Supercharged that had a deal on Virgin. So I found out he'd been the previous occupant of my flat, so they're his comics. And I've talked to him about this. I've verified this stuff. So I'm just sitting there and I'm reading this story because I'm so bored. And then I don't know whether you've seen the actual panel. It doesn't really make sense in the story. It says something in a glade over Central Park, the Teardrop Explodes. So I wasn't suggesting it as a band name, if I'm honest. I take full credit for it now. But I was just going, look at this. And of course, Julian's on it, like, you know, oh my God, that's psychedelic genius, you know. Yeah, and the rest of us, well, to be honest, the rest of us didn't really like it. We thought it was a bit wet. There's something, the Teardrop Explodes. It wasn't, I needed more kind of.
Teardrop Explodes and Echo of the Bunnymen were just so different from every other band.
Right.
Yeah, I thought they were both fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, great. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go for wet. I mean, you know, Echo and the Bunnymen's a bit wet, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. You know what it's like. You can't sort of see you don't know you're in a scene at the time, do you?
No.
And you don't recognise. It's, you know, the older you get and you look back and sort of put things under the microscope, you realise, oh my God, that actually was quite cool what we were doing, you know.
Oh, endlessly cool. You didn't last that long in the.
I didn't know, not long at all. So. When we started, the blueprint was The Fall, Perubu, Suicide, This Heat, were they going then? I think they were, it was fairly the extreme end of that sort of stuff. Julian had these bands he used to listen to that I wasn't so keen on. Like, I mean, they're all great now. Everything from that period's great now, isn't it? But Swell Maps and Soft Boys and things like that. Oh, yeah. Sort of poppier sort of stuff. Or it was a bit too poppy for me. So all the new songs, we're writing new songs all the time, but it was getting poppier and poppier, and less sort of, you know. I always use the salt pepper analogy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you have to season everything right, and it was getting. Everything was getting a little bit sweet and saccharine. So the evening before we were in the studio to record Bouncing Babies, Julian and I are walking through town, and we're always starving. We've got no money, we're starving. Buy these Polish Cabanos sausages, things for, because we're 15p, our meal for the day. So someone to eat these sausages, and I'm a bit deep in thought. I used to sort of suffer from depression. It wasn't really diagnosed then, but I was a bit, I was a glasses completely empty kind of bloke, and Julian's like, he's got 8 pints kind of thing. And so he says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I just, bouncing babies. I don't really like it." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, I don't know. I just don't like it." And of course, it was his.
Yes.
It was his words, his title. So, and we were, what were we, 22 or something?
Yeah.
Less probably. And so he sort of took the hump a bit and was kind of, "Well, why don't you leave then? If you hate it so much." And I said, "All right, then I will." And then we carried on eating our sausages and went for a cup of tea and stayed friends, So, anyway, I thought, bloody hell, I didn't realise that was going to happen. But, so I get back to my bed sit, and then an hour later, Bill Drummond, "Paul, you can't leave the Teardrop Explodes. You're the coolest thing about them, And he said, "What's going on?" And I just thought, I can't tell the truth. I can't just say I don't like that song, because I know he'll just say, "Don't be ridiculous. Make it good then."
Yeah.
So I made up this. I said, "Well, I'm going to form my own band." I said, like an English television, 2 guitars, bass, drums, icy keyboards, And he went, "That sounds fucking great. Do that." and then anyway, so Bill gets off, and then it's Dave Balfe, his partner in Zoo Records. You can't leave the tears.
They're not both coming on at the same time.
You think, wouldn't you? And I thought he'd be delighted I'd left, because he was always kind of, when we were in the studio doing Sleeping Gas, he was telling me I couldn't play well enough to let him do it. I was like, "Fuck off, no way, it's my job, And but he was the same. He said, "You can't leave the Teardrops, And I said, "Well, I am, and I'm going to do this." And he said, "Oh, sounds fantastic. Do that, So then I kind of had to.
Yeah. Called your bluff there.
Yeah.
So that was Wild Swans.
So that was the Wild Swans Mark 1,
Yeah. And you were living with Pete by then, Pete DeFreitas, were you?
No, that was that came a little bit later, not much later. So the deal there was, so Julian.
Go throw up the question how you never ended up in Echo and the Bunnymen.
I've got a great picture. I was in Amsterdam with I was just in Amsterdam, and then I saw a poster of the Bunnymen playing in the Paradiso that night. So I've got a great photo. They're all ready to go on stage, but Mac's doing his hair, and then in the dressing room, of course he is. So it's like Simo and the Bunnymen,
Yeah.
And it just, because I don't know, I think by the time. Remember when Mac left and they had another singer, didn't they, for the Reverberation of Noel?
No, sorry, yeah, they did. They got another singer, didn't they?
Yeah.
Out on
tour. I wasn't invited. I was busy. Yeah. I forgot what we're talking about.
Wow, we were talking about you were just before when you.
Oh yeah. So Julian was living in this really lovely top floor flat in a leafy part of town, just 15-minute walk out of the town centre. Pete Burns was on the bottom floor when he moved in.
What street, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Liverpool, yeah. Anyway, Julian married. We went into the Zoo office one day, and I said, "What did you do at the weekend, I said, "I went to the cinema and saw the Tin Drum." And I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I got married." And we went, "What? Got married?" So he was married, and living with his wife Kath in the top floor of this house. And the next thing I know, they're splitting up. So Julian said to Pete and I, "You can live there rent free." Imagine that, Victorian, top floor of Victorian house, gorgeous. Rent free if you look after our stuff until we sort it out. He was off on tour, I think, and
Yeah.
Kath didn't want to stay in the house because she was upset. So we were having a fantastic time. You know, it was like Pete had this huge. He was a biker, wasn't he? As you know, and he had this huge motorbike. I don't even know. It was like 650 or something. You know,
Good God.
and he wouldn't sit on it, ride up the stairs, but he would ride it, rev it, or use it to get up the 3 floors. Imagine how popular we were with the other residents. And he'd have it in the sitting room with a turkey roasting dish underneath it, you know, while he'd be draining all the oil out.
This is his definition of looking after the stuff in the flat, is it? I'm just going to.
Yeah. Well, that's the flat. I don't know whether you know this one. That's the flat where so Pete was, you know, he was from Goring-on-Thames or wherever. He was actually spoken of. You know, he would come in. I'm eating beans out of a can, and he would come in and go, "Oh, I brought us these with a pair of like mackerel, you know, and some garlic. I've never seen garlic before. Some garlic and rosemary, you know. He'd do things properly. He'd lay the table for breakfast and things, you know." So me and Pete are sitting there one morning having breakfast, like two Oxford Dons, you know, smoking a spliff or something. And it's spring, beautiful day, birds are chirping, and I hear this taxi pull up outside. And I look outside, and these two goth girls fall out. "Hey, are you Pete and Samo?" "Yeah." "Julian said we could stay with you." It's Courtney Love, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a young Courtney Love and a pal, Robin. So I'm trying to, Pete keeps on talking. Well, I'm desperately trying to ring Julian in London at the Columbia or wherever it's hotel.
It will have been the Columbia, won't it?
To verify this story. Yeah. And he's not picking. I find out 10 years later, he tells me, "Oh, I knew it was you ringing." I just wasn't. He was trying to get rid of them, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're following him around on tour. And
you a bit, didn't he? Oh no, it was Kurt Cobain with you, wasn't it? Following you around.
Oh my God!
You have it to deal with, don't you? But anyway,
one night.
Yeah. So they ended up.
Well, we did have a spare room, so and because we couldn't get hold of Julian, we thought, well, if she is friends with Julian, he said they can stay there. Well, we can't. No, you know. So we let them in, and we find out later it was just, you know, we let them in, meaning, well, you can stay a night or two, you know. Yeah. I don't know, what, 11 months later.
I didn't know for that long. She was on for quite a while then.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, they were trying to put a band together and stuff, and she was obsessed with Pete Burns. She hadn't stopped asking us about Pete Burns. Yeah. But I've got to, you know, she was very young. She was very young, but they were polite. They were nice, you know. But they were kind of taking the piss a bit with her. You know, I'd ask them, "So how's it going on searching for a flat?" And they go, "Oh, yes, we've signed up with all the agencies, but there aren't any." Yeah.
And the whole of Liverpool.
Yeah. Oh, why would they? You know, they're Americans, you know, living out of a suitcase. Why would they pay rent when it?
Well,
but eventually we'd had enough, and we sort of kind of chucked them out, really. Right. Do you guys know the story of Will Sargent's cardigan? Did he tell you that one?
Yes, we did. One on live in New York, isn't it?
MTV.
Isn't that amazing? But didn't it sell on for $330,000 or something?
Does he get a cut out of that?
No. Of course he doesn't know.
That's terrible. Well, I suppose he had to give it away for it to get famous, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is it true that you introduced Julian Cope to Scott, the genius of Scott Walker, the godlike genius of Scott Walker?
Yeah, it is true. And I mean, obviously other people knew about Scott. Scott, it was just, it might even have been when I was in Manchester. I can't remember. I seem to remember hearing Montague Terrace or Plastic Palace people or something. Yeah. I'm thinking, God, that's fantastic. I didn't know. What, bloody hell, you know. And I bought some of the albums, and I know what it was. It wasn't that. It was The Electrician. You know, that comebacks, the late Walker Brothers song called The Electrician. It's fantastic, dramatic thing. Yeah. Julian came out and I played him that. It blew his mind. And I said, and I played him some of the other stuff. Anyway, next thing I know, Julian's got an album out on Zoo Records called The Godlike Genius of Scott Walker. No mentioning me, no thank you, Ethan. Anyway, as a thing, I mean, me and Julian are all right with each other, but like maybe 10, 15 years ago, I'm on the phone with Julian. He goes, "Hey, Simo, it was you that got me into Scott Walker, wasn't it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I think he's crap. I think he's crap. That was a mistake." I was like, "Thanks." So you're blaming me.
Didn't thank you, but now he's blaming you.
Now he's blaming me. But weirdly, I got a film director got in touch with me last year, asking me to take part in a Scott documentary he's making, saying, "Oh, I believe it was you that helped repopularize Scott Walker in the 80s." And I said, well, thanks very much. But how do you know that? But he'd been digging pretty deep, and so that's going to happen at some point.
Fantastic.
I feel guilty.
I don't know if you say you don't like him. He based half his voice on him, isn't it? If that China Doll is based on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it was, Julian was doing some recording with Extreme Noise Terror or one of these type bands. And I think one of those, he virtually told one of those guys said, "Scott Walker's shit. Don't know why you think he's great. He's just shit. He just, and Julian." But I thought, thanks a lot.
Let's face it.
Yeah. but to actually blame me for something that actually helped Julian's career,
Definitely. So you have to stop singing for medical reasons, is that right?
Well, yeah. So I've only had one posh holiday in my life,
right?
And that was in 2009. Me, my now ex-wife, and my son, who was then only about 8, 7, went to Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Traveling around, and somewhere in the jungle, I got a parasite through the sole of my foot.
Right.
And it was horrible. I had the incredible fever. It only lasted about 12 hours, but you're completely delirious.
Yeah.
And but maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, my ex said, "God, Paul, your breathing is terrible. It's really laboured." And I hadn't even noticed. But you've got to get to a doctor. That's not right. And then a year at the School of Tropical Medicine.
Oh.
Not as an inpatient, but an outpatient. They used to give me these bags with the biohazard symbol on. I'd have to take stool samples and urine samples and stuff because it's very difficult to catch a parasite, a larval kind of you have to catch it in the right stage of its life cycle, or they can't spot it. So anyway, after a year, I was under the top thoracic surgeon at Royal Liverpool Hospital, and he said, "Look, we don't know what it is. We sort of know that, but we can't know." So I said, "Well, can you just give me some treatment for anything?" They said, "Well, it's quite severe. The treatment it takes it out of me." I said, "Please, just give it me, can you?" Yeah. So they did, and it didn't really help. So I was breathless, and I was breathless just climbing the stairs, and just generally kind of weak, And anyway, eventually he said, "Look, it's not going to kill you. It'll within another year, 2 at the maximum, it'll be gone." Well, it took about 10, 12 years. I think I'm free of it now. It's sort of like malaria, like symptoms.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Nothing trivial then.
No, it was pretty bad, and I thought while it was happening, I thought I was dying. I used to have to do a long walk to the hospital with me to the School of Tropical Medicine with me biohazard bags every few days.
Yeah,
and I'd have me walking on, listening to Mahler's, the Death in Venice music. I got quite into it, that kind of tubercular poet. On a slow fade, kind of the romance of it. Anyway, but yes, to answer your question, I was more right now, and I've sung since. But I don't make records very often. I don't play live very often. I don't really enjoy playing live.
Do you not?
No.
Has that changed, or was that always the case?
It was always the case. I had a very bad experience with my first my first big gig anyway was the Wild Swans supporting the Bunnymen on the Heaven Up Here tour. I think.
wow. That was a big tour, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah. And I think the first night was Oxford New Theatre, is it called something? But it was huge to me, you know.
Yeah.
Huge venue and a huge event. I was very nervous. I was wearing one of the big baggy tweed super stick thing, you know. And I walked out on stage, and just before I'd even strapped my guitar on, there's girls at the front lip of the stage, and one of them went, "Ew, he looks like he's dead." And like all my confidence went.
Oh, blimey.
Do you know what I mean? I wrote a book, and it came out end of 2003, and that story's in there.
Yeah.
And I think I describe it as being like a stab wound. I was bleeding out after a stab wound, and I was barely capable of singing. And then some nights were good, you know, some nights were great. Glasgow was great. And then Liverpool, again, they were just heckling, asking, shouting for the Bunnymen. And someone put a match in, and the whole box was like a fireball through it. It hit me in the face. And, you know, I was just like, I just had a few bad experiences when I was young. And you know, some people aren't cut out for it. You have to have quite a thick skin, don't you?
Yeah.
And that wasn't really me.
Develop one.
Another mad thing, you might know this, you might not, is the Wild Swans are big in the Philippines.
Oh, yes.
I agree with that.
That's incredible, that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not
yeah,
well, you have to be big in the Philippines. That's not what I mean. But how did that go?
I don't know exactly. I've got a bit of a theory, but I was China Crisis, Liverpool.
Yeah.
I passed them in the street one day, and they went, "All right, Paul." I didn't know them particularly very well, but I said, "All right, Paul, you need to get out of the Philippines. You're massive over there." And I nearly told them to fuck off. I was like, I thought they were joking. I thought they were taking the piss. Like, you know, no, seriously, you know. So I did some Googling. Oh my God, that's a bit bad. And then eventually a promoter got in touch, went out. It's mad. It's mad.
And how did it happen? You know,
I think it's something to do. So the biggest bands in the Philippines are The Cure, The Smiths, and then maybe the Wild Swans.
Wow.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. It doesn't do me that much good, I've got to say, because they pay me very well when I go out to play. But everything, forgive me for things, but everything's bootlegged.
Yeah. All right.
You know, and like you can sign autographs, literally sign autographs in 2 hours, 2.5 hours after a gig, and the T-shirts, the typeface is wrong, you know. And
right, okay.
You know, no, I don't think radio play is logged at all. So any time of the day or night, you'll hear the Wild Swans on the radio, but it's not logged.
You don't get any PRS or anything?
No, none. And I've been on to PRS about it, and they said it's Wild West, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Blimey.
But the whole new wave, they call it new wave.
Yeah.
Although they include a lot of bands we wouldn't call new wave in that category. It's something to do with that. When the Americans pulled out after the war, they left 4 massive telecommunications towers over the Philippines, and then just gifted them to the Philippines. And so they're a Catholic country. They're very romantic. So they particularly like that. So that early 80s, the Smiths, the Cure, kind of, you know, slightly they'd call it romantic sounding, soaring melodies.
That kind of edge, that isn't it? It's that kind of end.
It's that end of things, yeah.
Wow.
What you can't do in the Philippines is, so we go on TV and we play. Honestly, it's just mad. It's like 180 million people watch all across Malaysia and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't do like Joy Division would have died a death, right, on TV, because you can't be cooler than thou with the audience. Yeah. They are there to have a party. You've got studio audience. Yeah. They're there to party. So you can't ignore them.
No.
You have to engage on their terms, kind of thing. You know, I mean, I'm saying that Joy Division are big in the Philippines, of course, and yours, but
the Wild Swans.
Yeah, well, they probably are. I don't know. I can't. You know, it's like I cling because I'm quite low profile compared to some of my peers that I grew up with. I have to take my stuff where I can get it.
So I was going to ask about that, because it's one of the things that runs through the book is this idea of being a dweller of the margins, that you kind of you see quite an advantage in that in terms of telling a story, I think, don't you?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm just grateful I didn't have a big hit single.
Yeah.
Because, do you know what I mean? It kind of can kill you, can't it?
I do know what you mean, because
I do know
the
what you
fall's
mean.
the same in a way.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you never go like that. But you know, for the people who are listening, I just made a gesture with my arm that makes no sense at all. But yes, if you don't have a massive high, then you know you don't risk the massive drop either, do you? I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of it with me and Brody worked together for we did 3 singles in 1980. We formed in late 82, so 83 pretty much was Kerr, and I'm just so there's a Kerr out there. Pete Pafides is doing a double Kerr album. It's got sort of complete recordings really.
Yeah. Okay.
So just last night wrote my sleeve notes for it. He asked me to write some sleeve notes for it, and that was kind of really weird because so the album was never completed. I walked out in the middle of it. Why am I telling you this again? So we had a hit. Yeah, so we had 3 singles.
Hang on, whoa! Why did you walk out in the middle of this one?
Oh, because I'm Paul Simpson, aren't I? So in my head, I envisage a project.
Yeah.
And when it fails to be exactly that,
yeah,
I think so. I'm the kid in school, right? Oh, right, new exercise books this morning, kids. You got a lovely new exercise book, and then it's right. Write your names in the top corner. Write my name in the top corner, and write whatever the date. And I've ruined it, and rip out the page. Then you have to take the one out of the back to and then. I've ruined it. I've ruined anything. It's not good enough. I've ruined it. And I'm kind of like that with the music as well. I kind of have a perfect... I mean, the closest I got to what I wanted was Revolutionary Spirit, the first of the Wild Swans, and it's in mono. Yeah. So I should have... But I didn't walk away from that. I was sacked from my own band. Kind of sacked from my own band there. Really. Well, no, it's true. I as I said earlier, I used to suffer from a bit of depression, but I didn't know it. I just thought it was me. So I didn't. And you know what it's like when you're down, you don't want to. You just want to get yourself out there.
Yes.
I didn't talk about it with my bandmates. I just would. What we now call ghosting. I'd kind of ghost them.
People didn't talk about things with the bandmates.
We didn't discuss anything. I remember a mate the keyboard player, Jed Quinn, in the first Wild Swans, he went off around Europe for 6 weeks, and then he came back and saw the rest of them. All right, didn't say how was it. Where did you go? Did you meet any girls? It's just mad, you know.
In the fall, we didn't even talk about the music.
No.
Oh dear. So I got very low, incredibly low. We Simon Potts at Arista had come to our Peel session. He turned up at the actual session. I don't know how he got past security. He sat in the back of the room and said, This is the best song, one of the tracks. This is the best song I've ever heard by an unsigned band. I'm going to sign you. And it just didn't happen. He didn't offer us. Nothing was happening for weeks. The other guys were getting pissed off. They thought I was kiboshing it. I wasn't. No one rang me to get. And I got a bit low. And in those days, there was a thing called Transalpino. You could for 26 quid, I think, you could get a ticket. It would take you any 3 cities in Europe on the train or bus. You could get trams, anything, just like a pass. It was brilliant. So I took myself off to Amsterdam, just in a cheap hostel, just to never been, so I'd shake things up a bit. When I got back, there was a letter. We had a bank. We'd signed a publishing agreement with Bill Drummond and Dave Bell, Zoo Publishing. What were we thinking? For 300 quid for all of us, So we had a bank account with 300 quid in it. Anyway, so there's a letter of the bank saying, further to your instructions, we've closed the Wild Swans bank account. So I ring the other guys and say, have you closed the bank account? They went, yes. Why? To buy Peter Coyle some shoes. And I said, Peter Coyle from the Jazz Babies, as the band he was in then. He said, yes, he's our new singer. Well, I'd formed that band. Yeah. I'd handpicked them all and kind of, and they kind of, and they rebranded as the Lotus Eaters.
Yeah.
No,
and signed to Arista Records, to the guy that was going to sign the Wild Swans, very quickly. So now And you know that song, The First Picture of You? Biggest. Yeah, that's a song I co-wrote called Opium. My name's not on The First Picture of You, but that's my music, that chorus.
Bloody hell.
Is my music.
That was the shoes, by the way, with a good pair of shoes for 300.
Probably shit now and then, guys. So,
we'd like to say it's a great business.
It's a shit business, isn't it?
It's a shit business. Yeah, so I was so upset. It destroyed me, absolutely destroyed me. Everywhere I went, I could hear record playing, every car that passed, every shop I went into. I didn't tell anyone, didn't even tell my girlfriend, my mum, anyone about it. I was just so upset. So there's a thing. So I think, okay, well, they've taken my record deal, or the record deal I was going to sign. I'm going to do some solo demos.
Yeah.
Or at a port studio off Ian McCulloch. I'd written this guitar part that was too intricate for me to play well.
Yeah.
So Will Sargent had moved around the corner. He was only 300 yards away. So I carried the Porter studio up Prince's Road, rang his bell, said, "Yeah, Will, can you play this?" So as we all know, Will's an amazing guitarist, but it wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
Will, you know what Will's great at, but he just couldn't get his head around it. So he shouts up the stairs, "Ian!" like that. Ian Brody bounces in. Well, I knew Ian from Eric's, but we didn't really know each other. I knew we'd seen him on stage and stuff. And I said, "Yeah, can you play this? This is Paul. Can you play this?" So Ian played in 2 seconds, of course. And then as I was leaving, he said, "Listen, because I've done you that favor, could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Could you sing on this? I've written this song called Tall Ships. Could you have a go at singing it?" So I took the cassette home and, like, try as I might, I couldn't inhabit it.
Yeah.
I've never been a singer that can do cover versions.
Right.
I've tried and I just can't do it. So I don't know what possessed me, or why I had the gall, because at this point he's produced Crocodiles by the Bunnymen. He's starting to produce some kind of TB21. But he's not very confident about his own singing voice. So I said, "Well, can I write my own melody and words?" But that's all. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't mean, should we work together?
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay." So I stayed up all night, wrote a new melody, wrote new words, and got God, I sound like a right twat here. What was it? A copy of Othello or something, like some Shakespeare book. And I'd seen this line, "My Boyish Days," and I thought, I like the sound of that song. So it was called My Boyish Days. Gave the cassette back to Ian, right? In my memory, that was a Friday. On Monday morning, Bill Drummond again. Paul, I've got you a record deal. What? Thinking he's got me a solo record deal.
Okay.
I've got your record deal. Fantastic. Who with them? Arista. Well, they were going to sign me anyway. Brilliant.
I'm not signing with them. They signed me.
Yeah. Then he said, "No, it's for you and Ian Brody." And we're not a group, And he went, "Yeah, now."
Oh.
Now, and when you're on, like, I was probably on 23 quid a week dole or fortnight even. I can't even remember, in 1982. I was heartbroken from a band.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I was
I wasn't on the dole in 82. I was on the dole in 80 for a bit.
But them were the days when you could form bands, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And rehearse, So we became a group, and so because I was writing these sleeve notes last night about it, I was kind of trying to remember, and we were so mortified about being thought of as a synth duo. we got a bass player and drummer in to become a 4-piece, but I don't think we ever got to do any videos or anything because I walked out in the middle of the album, So that's, anyway, it's been kind of really interesting listening to I've never heard the recordings because Ian, apparently when I left, Ian stayed on and finished the session.
Right.
He just using the guide vocals and whatever was there. But he sort of rearranged them and played new instruments on and stuff. So I actually listened to it all. It all got remastered at Abbey Road a fortnight ago. And it sounds great. It sounds, it's very, it doesn't sound like anything else.
Yeah.
From the time, because we were using classical, we were using bassoon players and things and piccolos. And, hey?
When's it coming out then?
November.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I've got Bob Stanley writing sleeve notes and.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, we're coming to the end of our hour, but there is something else about it. You said that there's 3 stories in this book that I've not put in. Nico, Gregory Corso, and Paul McCartney. Can you say the podcast, or are they still...
I can't do them all. What's the best one?
Pick one and give us that one.
There's Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, okay. So I'm friends with Mike McCartney.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Liverpool's a village.
You're in Liverpool, no everybody.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And so I'm at
guitar.
James and Mortimer used to do Slade and Ozzy.
Cooper Soup. So I'm at Mike's, I'm guessing it would have been his 50th or 60th, 50th maybe. And he's got a kind of marquee in his garden. And we arrived late. I'm with Henry Priestman. I think, have you had Henry on? Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Henry, Matt and Max probably. I don't know. And Paul's on stage with the Easy Beats.
Wow.
Right. And they're doing all, Long Tall Sally and all that stuff. And so this is years ago. So my ex-wife had made the birthday cake.
Okay.
Because she was friends with Rowena, Mike's wife. And so she's met Paul, Henry's met Paul, Max met Paul, blah, 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 blah. And so cut to 2 a.m. and there's a dance floor and everyone's drunk and we're all dancing. And I feel a tap on my shoulder and I turn around, it's Paul McCartney. I'm the only person who hasn't spoken to her. And I think, like cats, if you don't like cats, they come and sit on your knee.
Yes.
Right. And not that I don't like Paul. I think because I wasn't kind of bothering him or sounding him out, he thought, who's that guy that's not interested in him? So he came up and he was very drunk. Excuse me, have you seen my wife anyway? Oh, Linda, as his wife was then, is hippie dancing like a yard away.
Yeah.
She's there. And he said, are you married? I said, yeah. And he said, he holds up. Holds up. He said, I was in Lagos once. So I thought, that's Band on the Run, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course it is, yeah.
I was in Lagos once and he's holding up 10 fingers and he goes, I was talking to the tribal chief. 9 fucking wives, and I can't find one. And then he stumbled off. And I'm like, did that just happen?
Brilliant.
I've met him a couple of times since then, but I just thought it was great. It was just such a funny thing that he would come to me.
Yeah.
The other ones, the Nico story is fantastic, but I'll save that for volume 2.
Yes, we'll do that again. Yes, we're playing Liverpool. You're in Dublin now, aren't you?
I was going to say.
When are you in Liverpool? I am actually in Liverpool next week.
No, it's November we're playing.
Right, okay.
Meet up.
Yeah.
But that was brilliant. I could listen to you all day. I still
bless you. Thanks. I wanted to ask you guys stuff as well, and because I've got I cut and pasted all these fall flyers from yesterday about things like your eras and stuff that I've just. Well, hang on, I'll have to go through. Oh God, just put that one in the bin. Hang on. Oh, stop doing it! I keep putting things in the bin. I'm trying not to. Oh no, never mind. Listen.
When we didn't even get around to your book.
Not really.
Revolutionary Spirit, Jawbone Press. Yeah.
I've just had a message from Wiley. He's coming to the Arts Club in Liverpool.
Fantastic. He's been on your show, hasn't he?
Yeah, Christ. Well, you say he's been on. We'd switch the mics on, and then an hour later, I switched the mic off.
Well, actually, you've just reminded me. I was talking about that band when the Teardrops played the Band on the Wall gig in the fall. Well, turned out to see us. Wiley came with us in the van. And I remember he had to climb on stage because the bass drum was migrating,
moving about, yeah.
Because the stage, so I had to sit the whole game sitting inside the bass drum.
Brilliant. We'll let you go now, but that was fantastic. That mate.
Thank you. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm sorry if I hogged the airwaves.
Brilliant.
That's what you're here for.
That's what you're here for. Yeah.
I don't listen to us.
Bless you.
You know about rubbish. Right, so take care, mate, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, man.
Take it easy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Old Brother. You can find all our previous episodes on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be hosted at shows.acast.com/o-brother. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and tell your friends about us. Episodes are released every second Friday, so watch for the next episode in 2 weeks. See you next time, and remember, if you're driving, take your car. Ta-da.